Out of nowhere, two men dressed in crisp white shirts and dark trousers strode forward with firm, synchronized steps. Their sunglasses concealed any hint of emotion, making their expressions unreadable and their presence even more intimidating. Behind them, the silhouettes of passers-by faded into the background, as if the world momentarily stilled in anticipation. On the right side of the scene, only the back of a girl with long purple hair and delicate ribboned accessories could be seen, unaware of the sudden approach behind her. A girl with shining pink eyes and equally rosy hair gasped as she suddenly noticed the approaching figures. Shock widened her eyes and her mouth opened in an urgent cry. Light burst behind her as if emphasizing her alarm. She leaned forward, throwing all her concern into her words as she shouted, "Nanya, watch out!" Her warning pierced the air, filled with genuine worry for her friend. The two men halted before the girls and bent forward respectfully, forming a sharp contrast to their imposing appearance. One of them spoke in a formal tone. "Lady, you should come back home. Young master is looking for you." Standing before them was a small girl dressed adorably like a doll, her round face full of innocence and confusion. Beside her, the purple-haired girl turned to face the men, while the pink-haired girl stood slightly behind, still tense from the sudden encounter. Around them, faceless figures faded into the background, making the confrontation feel even more pronounced and direct. The two men bowed even deeper, showing complete obedience and respect toward the little girl. Their straight backs bent sharply forward, their hands by their sides, their posture strict and disciplined. The tiny girl in the frilly blue dress stood quietly between them and her companions, her expression soft and childlike, contrasting with the seriousness of the men. The atmosphere hung somewhere between formality and confusion as everyone processed the situation. Later, the scene shifted to the purple-haired girl, now standing alone against a darkening background. Her expression had hardened into one of quiet frustration. Though she remained calm, her eyes revealed disappointment and heaviness, as if the earlier encounter had stirred emotions she wished she could hide. The cool evening tones wrapped around her form, emphasizing her unhappiness and the weight of whatever she was feeling inside. As the car door opened, warm light spilled onto the pavement, illuminating the soft smile of the purple-haired girl. She held up a small, neatly packaged gift in her hand, her expression full of pride and anticipation. Turning toward her older sister, she said with gentle excitement, "Sister, this is the gift that we have chosen together. She will definitely love it." Behind her, the little doll-like girl peeked out adorably, while the pink-haired girl listened attentively. The atmosphere felt light and hopeful, as though the gift they carried wasn't just an object, but a heartfelt gesture prepared with love and care. The scene shifted to a vast, tranquil night sky. A brilliant moon hung high above, bathing the world in a cool, silvery glow. Stars dotted the darkness like scattered jewels, flickering gently as if whispering ancient stories. Wisps of clouds drifted quietly across the heavens, carried by an unseen breeze. The serenity of the sky suggested the calm before an important moment, as though the night itself was waiting for something to unfold. Soon, the view descended to a magnificent mansion glowing warmly against the night sky. The estate stood proudly with towering windows, elegant arches, and a central clock tower that added a timeless charm to the architecture. Soft golden lights spilled from every doorway and window, making the mansion feel alive with activity, even at this late hour. A grand fountain stood before the entrance, its water shimmering under the lanterns like liquid gold. The vast courtyard, lined with manicured hedges and stone pathways, spoke of wealth, history, and power. Anyone approaching this place would immediately understand this was a home of great prestige. Parked neatly along the driveway was a gleaming row of luxury cars. Sleek black, fiery red, and vibrant orange vehicles reflected the soft glow of the estate's lights, their polished surfaces shining like gemstones. Each car exuded status and exclusivity, from elegant sedans to high-performance sports cars. Their presence suggested neither a simple visit nor an ordinary gathering, but an event attended by individuals of immense importance and influence. The quiet night air carried a sense of anticipation, as though something grand was about to begin. A cascade of soft pink roses filled the scene, their petals glowing as though touched by morning light. The delicate flowers overlapped in gentle waves, each bloom perfectly shaped, symbolizing elegance and affection. Golden leaves peeked between them, adding a touch of warmth and celebration. It was a scene that whispered of joy, festivity, and heartfelt sentiment, a prelude to an occasion meant to be cherished and remembered. Under the soft glow of the night sky, the young man in the elegant white suit looked down with a gentle, almost amused smile. His calm voice broke the silence as he remarked, "Nobody ever gives dolls to the princess." The girl beside him, her pink hair shimmering faintly under the moonlight, lifted her gaze in surprise. Her wide, violet eyes reflected both curiosity and confusion, as if she didn't quite understand what lay behind his words. In her arms, the doll she carried peeked out shyly, its round face full of innocent charm. The scene felt tender, wrapped in starlit warmth. The girl adjusted her hold on the doll, bringing it closer to her chest as she stepped forward slightly. Her expression softened into one of polite curiosity as she looked up at the young man's pristine white suit. In a soft but confident voice, she asked, "So what? What gift do you have? Can you show me?" Her question hung in the air, playful yet earnest. The night breeze rustled the hem of her light blue dress as though encouraging the exchange. She seemed genuinely intrigued, unaware that her straightforward innocence might have startled him. The young man leaned in just enough to bridge the space between them, his eyes warming with amusement. With a light touch of his finger, he tapped her nose gently, an unexpected gesture that made her tense in surprise. "That's a secret," he murmured, his voice smooth. "Even the owner of the party still doesn't know. But you wanted to preview it? That's not good." The background seemed to blush with them, soft pink bubbles rising like captured emotions. Her cheeks grew warmer as she stared up into his confident gaze. It was a teasing moment, lighthearted yet intimate. With the playful moment settled, the man straightened his posture and offered his arm. His smile deepened in a way that felt inviting rather than formal. "All right, let's go in," he said warmly. The girl blinked, still recovering from the earlier teasing, but she placed her hand on his arm anyway. The night sky stretched endlessly above them, while the soft lights from the grand mansion illuminated their path. At her side, the doll tilted slightly, as if sharing her excitement and nervousness. Together, they took their first steps toward the glowing entrance. Inside the grand hallway, curious whispers began to flutter from corner to corner. A voice murmured in surprise, "Today, young Master Mu brought along a companion?" Another whisper followed quickly, tinged with excitement and shock. "This is the first time he brought someone. Is that his girlfriend?" The grand interior, with its gleaming golden decor and tall glass panels, subtly amplified every word. The unseen onlookers seemed to buzz with speculation, while all eyes discreetly drifted toward the pair entering together. As the pair stepped into the grand hall, the atmosphere subtly shifted. Conversations quieted, and faceless silhouettes turned their heads in curiosity. The young man in the immaculate white suit walked with calm confidence, while the pink-haired girl followed closely beside him, clutching the doll gently in her arms. From a distance, a woman in a sleek black dress watched them with tense, widening eyes. Her posture stiffened, as though something inside her cracked the moment she saw them together. The soft glow of the mansion lights cast elongated shadows, heightening the sharp contrast between admiration and jealousy filling the room. The woman's fingers curled against her dress, trembling with suppressed emotion. She stared at the back of the man she longed for, watching him guide another girl across the red carpet with effortless elegance. Her heart twisted painfully, and a desperate whisper arose from within her thoughts. Why is the person beside him not me? The question carried a bitter mix of longing, frustration, and heartbreak. She could only watch as the pair moved forward, their steps in perfect sync, while she remained frozen, left behind among the crowd. Inside a lavish sitting room adorned with marble walls and golden trim, the young man leaned forward slightly, his expression gentle. "I'll go greet my grandfather and uncle," he said softly. "You sit here and wait for a while." Seated gracefully on the ornate sofa, the girl looked up at him with calm reassurance. "I know," she replied with a small smile. "Just go." Her tone was steady, trusting. The childlike doll sat beside her, watching with lifeless round eyes, adding a hint of sweetness to the elegant setting. Before he left, he placed a plate of rich chocolate cake topped with glossy strawberries in front of her. His movements were precise, yet considerate, as though he wanted to make sure she felt comfortable in this grand and familiar environment. She blinked up at him, soft pink eyes sparkling under the chandelier light. The gesture, simple yet thoughtful, warmed her heart more than she expected. The room felt less intimidating now, because he had taken the time to ease her into it. Not far away, two elegantly dressed women whispered to each other while casting sideways glances at the girl. That dull thing. Will it be given to Lady Shu-er?" One of them muttered with clear disapproval. Her companion immediately hushed her, eyes widening. "Shh, she's the one young Master Mu brought here." Meanwhile, the pink-haired girl calmly enjoyed a spoonful of cake, entirely unaware, or perhaps completely unconcerned, about the murmur swirling around her. The doll in her arms peeked out shyly, its blush mirroring her quiet innocence amidst the judgmental whispers. A sudden shout slices through the steady hum of conversation in the grand hall. Someone from the crowd gasps in excitement, their voice echoing sharply. "Look! It was Mr. Bei Ming!" The announcement hangs in the air like a spark, instantly drawing attention toward the entrance, where all eyes shift with anticipation and curiosity. Hearing the commotion, the pink-haired girl lifts her head, still holding her spoon near her lips as she tastes the last bit of chocolate. Her violet eyes widen in confusion, a small question mark practically forming in the air beside her expression. She turns instinctively, wondering who everyone is talking about and why his arrival seems so important. As the wide doors of the hall open fully, a tall man steps across the threshold with an air of undeniable presence. He is dressed in a dark suit that frames his lean, powerful figure, each step confident yet effortlessly elegant. The bright light behind him outlines his silhouette, making him appear almost like he is walking out of a spotlight. He moves further inside, allowing the room's warm lighting to reveal more of him. His suit is immaculately tailored, emphasizing his height and composure. The patterned carpet beneath him softens his footsteps, but his aura is anything but subtle, calm, controlled, and commanding. The atmosphere of the hall seems to shift, as though acknowledging the entrance of someone who cannot be ignored. A close view of his face reveals sharp, striking eyes, cool in color, yet warm in their depth. They narrow slightly as he surveys the crowd, his expression unreadable, but undeniably intense. Something, or perhaps someone, has caught his attention. Without a word, his quiet gaze alone exerts the weight of authority and mystery, leaving those nearby holding their breath. The steady rhythm of footsteps echoed across the polished floor, growing clearer and heavier with each passing second. His shoes tapped against the ornate carpet, the sound crisp enough to cut through the lingering murmurs in the hall. The words, "Come close," seemed to pulse in the air, as though carried on the very vibration of his approach. Every step he took drew the atmosphere tighter, pulling all attention toward him like an invisible force. Startled by the approaching presence, the pink-haired girl immediately turned toward the sound. Her violet eyes widened, shimmering with both surprise and confusion. She instinctively straightened her posture, her long hair cascading like silk behind her as she lifted her head. The grand hall's soft light illuminated her delicate features, making her look almost ethereal as she tried to comprehend why he was walking directly toward her. As his footsteps continued to draw nearer, her body responded before her mind fully caught up. She pushed herself up from her seat, her fingers lightly gripping the armrest for balance. The flowing blue fabric of her dress swayed gently with her movement, the floral patterns blooming softly under the bright light. The words, "Stand up," echoed in her thoughts, not spoken aloud but felt, like an instinctive command from the tension filling the room. Then, cutting through the swirl of emotion and uncertainty, a slender hand reached out toward her. His movements were smooth and deliberate, as though time itself had slowed to frame the gesture. The background blurred into soft streaks of pink, making the pale elegance of his extended fingers stand out even more. There was no hesitation in him, only certainty. This simple motion carried weight, intention, and a silent invitation she had not expected. Their bodies were suddenly so close that the world around them seemed to blur into soft streaks of pink light. He held her firmly by the waist, his grip steady and commanding, as though he had stepped in purely by instinct. She stared up at him with wide, startled eyes, her breath caught in her throat as his cool gaze locked onto hers. From somewhere not far away, a whisper rippled through the crowd, filled with disbelief and curiosity. Who is this girl after all? To everyone watching, the scene looked far too intimate, too practiced to be mere coincidence. As her dress fluttered lightly with their movement, the murmurs around them grew louder, sharper, like little darts of gossip thrown into the air. Someone muttered, unable to contain their shock. First, it was young Master Mu, and now it's Mr. Bei Ming. Her tricks are really not trivial. Envy, suspicion, and fascination swirled together. To them, she was no longer just a girl at the party. She was a mystery they desperately wanted to unravel. Before she could step back or find her voice, his hand rose gently yet deliberately, lifting her chin with the tip of his fingers. The gesture was intimate, almost teasing, forcing her to meet his eyes. He leaned in closer, a faint, knowing smile curving his lips as he studied her flustered expression. His voice, low and smooth, brushed against her ears like velvet. Is the food here delicious? It was a simple question, yet spoken in a way that made her heart skip, as though there was an entirely different meaning hidden beneath his words.